An emergency crew is called to a campsite after a woman gives birth. What they found that's led to charges for the baby's parents.
Attorneys for a man accused of murder make a few final requests before his trial begins.
The Special Olympics of Kentucky are on. Coming up, we'll take you to the state capitol and show you how Governor Matt Bevin participated in the kickoff.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Well, you might have seen a storm or perhaps a shower in your area today, but there's more where that came from.
Unfortunately,
Yep.
We have some stormy, soggy weekend in forecast. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell is here to show us what's on the way.
Yeah, more rain chances will be rolling into the area as we get into the weekend. Out there right now, we're pretty quiet area-wide. However, still tracking some showers and thunderstorms across parts of our area. So not a bad-looking Friday for most of us. There you see a little complex that has developed across extreme southern sections of Kentucky there into Whitley County. That's one of the more intense thunderstorms that we have, period, anywhere. Here's what it looks like through the rest of the evening, though. We'll keep our temperatures pretty warm, and then we get into the evening and overnight, early tomorrow morning, tracking a little bit of rain with more showers and thunderstorms as the day increases there. You can see better chances by noon and especially tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. And if you get caught under one of these, likely keeps temperatures down quite a bit into the evening there. So we're not going to be off the charts with some of their warmth tomorrow. Saturday night into Sunday morning, more chances will be pushing through. But here's the positive spin on all of it. We go through one probably, well, rain-soaked weekend. We'll just go ahead and say what it is. Rain-soaked weekend. And once we get into Monday and beyond, humidity levels are down. Temperatures are back in the low and mid-70s. It is fantastic out there. I'll track all of that in the 7-day. Coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jim. A father is in jail, a mother in the hospital, and their baby in critical condition after being born at a makeshift campsite.
Emergency workers were called to that site off of Barton Hollow Road not long after the mother gave birth. The couple faces charges for what else EMS workers found at that scene. WKYT's Phil Pendleton explains in our top story at 5.
The father of the child, David Osborne, remains here in jail at the Whitley County Detention Center. The mother is at a hospital. Her name is Megan Helton. Police are saying that this couple gave birth to a baby at a makeshift campsite amid a mess of meth-making materials.
We gathered the evidence that we located around this tent, which would be the precursors for making meth.
The couple's child, a baby girl, was sent to UK where she is said to be in stable but critical condition. Police believe the couple went to the area on Barton Hollow Road to camp out and possibly to make meth.
Based upon what dispatch had informed us, they had received a call for EMS to come there earlier in the morning because of a female that was going into child labor.
When EMS arrived, the baby had already been born.
It's just scary to think of what this little baby's up against.
Osborne told us he did not want to talk about the allegations against him from here inside the Whitley County Jail. Megan Helton remains at a hospital. We're told that baby girl is at UK Hospital in Lexington. Now, coming up at 6 o'clock, you will hear the 911 calls this couple made as this baby was being born. For now in Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Both face charges of making meth and possessing items used to make meth. Osborne is also charged on some outstanding warrants. A man made his final court appearance before his trial begins this Monday.
Mark Taylor is accused of kidnapping and killing Alex Johnson more than 2 years ago. As WKYT's Mark Barber shows us, Taylor's attorneys had a few last-minute requests ahead of the trial.
With just 3 days until Mark Taylor goes on trial for murder, we're starting to learn what to expect when he goes to trial. The Commonwealth's attorney says the first person that they're planning to call to testify is the mother of the man that Taylor is accused of kidnapping and beating to death. Alex Johnson's body was found stuffed in a barrel in the Kentucky River back in 2014. The Commonwealth's attorney prosecuting his one-time friend and now accused killer wants to start the trial with his mother's testimony so she can explain who Johnson was and why his death is not just another statistic. Taylor's attorneys asked the judge to keep her from testifying because they think that she will be used to drum up sympathy for her son. The judge overruled that motion. For the first time today, we are also getting an idea of how Taylor's attorneys will try to defend him. This morning, they described Johnson, a chef who worked for the University of Kentucky, as a drug dealer. The second man charged in the murder case, Timothy Ballard, has agreed to testify against Taylor next week as a part of his plea deal. Attorneys tell WKYT that he's expected to tell the court that they went back to the house for money and marijuana after Johnson was killed. One other noteworthy thing came out in court this morning. The Commonwealth's attorney says they thought they had an audio recording with the key witness, Johnson's girlfriend, but she says it appears to have disappeared. They think it was a mistake with the officer who wrote the report. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
In another last-minute request, Taylor's attorney asked the judge to only allow autopsy photos that show relevant injuries be used during the trial. They argued the other autopsy photos would be harmful. In another another hearing today for 3 people accused of killing a UK student. Efren Diaz, Justin Smith, and Roman Gonzalez are charged with robbery and murder in the death of Jonathan Kruger last April. Today's hearing helped catch one of the suspect's new lawyers up on the case. While no trial date has been set, it could be scheduled for March of next year. Police say a driver ended up in a crash while trying to avoid getting into a different crash. It happened just before 8 this morning on Military Pike in Lexington. Police say the driver of a white pickup swerved to avoid a car that crossed the center line. The driver overcorrected and ended up hitting another car head-on.
A lot of our rural roadways are relatively thin, so there is obviously a very small margin for error.
First responders had to remove the top of the pickup to get the people inside out. 3 people went to the hospital, one of them with serious injuries.
A former JROTC teacher faces sexual assault charges. Deputies say he met his victims through his job. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Boyd County. The sheriff's office says that 45-year-old Howard Faber raped 2 16-year-old students at Boyd County High School. He pled not guilty today. The superintendent says Faber planned to resign effective July 1st, but changed it to immediately when the investigation began. In Carlisle County, an Amtrak train hit and killed a pedestrian overnight. The crash happened about 3 o'clock this morning. The train had 158 passengers on board. None of them or any of the crew members were hurt. The name of the person hit has not yet been released.
The Blue Angels will not fly this weekend after a deadly accident. A member of the Navy's elite flying force died in a fiery crash while practicing yesterday in Smyrna, Tennessee. U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter addressed the tragedy today. He says his department will try to learn from the crash and from the deaths of 5 soldiers during flooding at Fort Hood.
We're going to make sure that we learn lessons that we can from the investigations we conduct after these incidents, and that we take actions in the future to prevent such accidents and keep our people safe.
The Federal Aviation Administration has taken over the investigation into the crash. The Special Olympics of Kentucky is underway.
And the event began this morning with a special ceremony in Frankfort. Our Mike Linden shows us how it all started.
This is it. This is the big one.
After a year's worth of practice and training, the 2016 Special Olympics of Kentucky kicked off this morning.
This is track and field, we have aquatics, we do bocce.
Right, here we go.
For the 30th year of the torch run, Governor Matt Bevin kicked off the festivities and was given the honor of lighting the ceremonial torch.
After lighting the torch here on the front steps of the Capitol building in Frankfort, law enforcement officers will literally run the torch all the way to Richmond by 7 o'clock this evening.
Teams of officers will take turns running with the torch on the way. They say it's an honor to take part in the torch run.
When you're in law enforcement, when you're in our, that's what we're doing, is just giving back to our communities. And it's a good way that we can all, again, share in carrying that torch and bringing it to Richmond.
Organizers say more than 7,800 athletes across the state will participate in the games over the weekend.
These are kids. They were probably laughed at. They didn't understand. They were looked down upon. Special Olympics not only gave them a voice, it gives them self-esteem.
Regardless of the outcome of the Summer Games, everyone leaves a winner. In Frankfort, Mike Linden, WKYT.
And they are all winners. The Summer Games continue Saturday morning at 10 a.m. with track and field. The candidates for president have just a few days left to win votes ahead of Tuesday's primaries, how they're spending their final weekend of campaigning.
And a popular snack is being recalled. We'll show you what it is and why the company is concerned about it in Better Living.
For you, it starts with a chime on your phone, a post in your timeline. But for us, it starts even earlier.
We're tracking breaking news.
Well, that shooting happened at just
Getting breaking news to you is what we do. WKYT stands for Kentucky.
Grab my lipstick. Hey, what are you doing?
Getting the codes.
For a half hour?
Bob just got Time Warner Cable. He's getting more.
More what?
More than 30,000 movies and shows on demand, most for free. Look, he's DVRing like 6 shows at once.
Let's go.
Oh, this grass is so much greener than on our TV.
Why are your shoes off?
Because I'm on their bed. I don't want to be rude.
Discover how much more is included.
Are those meatballs still circulating?
Switch to Time Warner Cable today and ask how you could get a $300 reward card.
You're a problem solver. Oh yeah, you love solutions. You tackle what matters and sack the rest. It's how you stay in your mom game. I get it. And it's how you fuel hungry kids. Stock the fridge with Lando Frost premium lunch meat. Taste keeps them happy, protein keeps them full. That is a win-win. And a win-win is Mommy Gold. Lando Frost, solving family lunch problems since 1958.
The Legends homestand wraps up tonight with fireworks after the game and the chance to take a picture with the Royals World Series trophy. Fans can take a picture with the World Series trophy before the game from 6:15 to 7:30. Check out LexingtonLegends.com for all the details.
Greatness isn't about creating one masterpiece and calling it a day. It's about challenging yourself to create a masterpiece every time. Come celebrate a half-century of innovations at the Kawasaki Golden Anniversary Sales Event. Save up to $2,500 plus 0% financing on select models at participating dealers. Visit Kawasaki.com to find a dealer near you.
Visit Kawasaki of Jackson the weekend of June 11th to test drive a new Kawasaki.
August the 20th of 2013, the lady I was dating and I were headed to Dallas, Texas, hit a retaining wall, and then all of a sudden we started rolling. So I was in there for 9 days in ICU. I went through a lot of depression, anxiety, I was scared, anger. I fought for 3 months after I got out of the hospital not to get an attorney. It was really refreshing to be able to hand that over to Hughes & Coleman, knowing that it's going to be taken care of. But I can honestly say Hughes & Coleman, it's 100%.
This week, our contestants are ready to face off with one another.
Alex, I like to make it a true daily double.
And even Alex?
You should grow like an onion with your head in the ground.
Put him up.
Jeopardy! Tonight at 7:30 on WKYT. Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
And we are tracking some showers and thunder showers across parts of Kentucky again today. But the thing about today's chances and even the coverage that we have out there, it's not really that impressive. Now, if you get caught under one, like this one down in Whitley County, it's a little more impressive, but most of them aren't going to be like this. Let's get right to the Defender Radar Network so you can see what's happening out there. Williamsburg kind of all around you at this point with the heavier rain. It's well off into the county, but some heavier stuff just north of Williamsburg along Interstate 75 there. And you can see some of the lightning that's been showing up with this one as well, close to the Duck Run area. So one little thunder shower in southern Kentucky. Let's expand our view and show you what the rest of us are seeing, and that's just mainly cloudy skies and humid conditions also out there as well. You go a little more toward the east, the clouds are a little bit thinner and seeing a little more sunshine as well across parts of northeastern Kentucky, and you get into southeastern Kentucky, they thicken up a little bit because we did have a few showers and thunderstorms pass through the area. What we have going on in the atmosphere is just some energy pushing in here with all the heat and humidity. It's easy to fire off some showers and storms. This is midnight tonight. We're pretty quiet, and then you'll have maybe 1 or 2 rogue showers kind of hang out in the area, but overall, it looks like a dry period. We get into your Saturday, that's a very different story. You notice the chances of showers and storms start to ramp up into the afternoon tomorrow. Off to our west, a frontal boundary is pressing into the area, and that is going to bring us a good chance of showers and storms, not only for Saturday, but more so into Sunday, because that's when it's passing directly overhead and enhances those rain chances into the early morning, into mid-morning and beyond. You can see a little more organization to these showers and storms. And when you've got a front, an actual source for the lift in the atmosphere, a big one like that, it's easier to get the showers and storms together. So with it passing through, especially into your Saturday, we are under what is considered a marginal risk of severe weather across parts of Kentucky. So basically, an isolated shower or thunderstorm could go briefly up to severe weather criteria. Winds around 60 miles per hour and some large hail could be possible tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Here's your 7-day forecast as we plan ahead for you. We go beyond the storm chances this weekend, and things start to look a whole lot better. That same front that's going to drive those severe weather possibilities into the forecast, it's also going to drive the heat, humidity, and rain out of town for several days, but we have to get into next week before any of that happens. So if you have plans this weekend, I don't ever like to be just this ominous, but if you have plans this weekend, have a backup plan.
Jim, you gotta be that guy.
I'm that guy today. Chris Bailey left it on me to be the bad guy.
I know it.
The scouts say be prepared. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you better be.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's get a check of traffic around the area right now. There is a crash on Interstate 75 around the Athens-Boonesboro exit. We also have crashes on Richmond Road at Lake Shore and on Loudon between Idlewild Court and Mape Avenue. Tourists have been turned away from popular attractions in Paris. The problems floodwaters are causing there next.
And it's been nearly a week since the Cincinnati Zoo had to make the difficult choice to shoot an animal to save a child. We'll show you what goes into their training for situations like this on WKYT News at 5:30.
When severe storms roll in, we go to work to keep you and your family safe with continuous coverage on air, on WKYT.com, and wherever you are with our news and weather apps. First Alert Severe Weather Days, only on WKYT.
Unclaimed freight notice this weekend at American Freight. Over 1,000 truckloads of living room furniture. 7-piece living room groups that include a sofa, love seat, coffee table, 2 end tables, and 2 designer lamps. You get all 7 pieces from only $398 complete. Free layaway, same-day delivery. Come to the loading docks this weekend only at American Freight in Lexington, 272 West New Circle Road next to Walmart across from Jalapenos. Phone 226-0008.
Flowers are important because they cheer people up, they make people feel better, they say sorry in a really easy way. And that's important to me because if someone's celebrating the birth of a baby or a graduation or some huge success, I get to be a part of that celebration. But every customer wants to be treated like you know them or like you are their friend. I promise, if you come in and get a bouquet from me, it will be fresh, colorful, made with care, and made with you in mind. Hi, I'm Amber, and I'm from the Portland Kroger.
Listen up. This is the time, this is the place. And this is Ford F-150, the truck that goes toe-to-toe with your life. Made of high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy that pulled the highest safety rating the government can give. And with Pro Trailer backup assist, it's like having your head on a swivel, pal. So load up your crew. This is the time.
Now get an F-150 with 0% financing for 60 months or up to $7,050 in total savings. See your local Ford dealer.
Your late news should be new. Crazy concept, right? Thankfully, WKYT is putting the new back in late news. WKYT News at 11 is always fresh, with newer stories and more updates. So there's less repetition, which means no wasted time. I watch Sam and Amber for my news and Chris Bailey for a forecast that lets me know what to expect for tomorrow. WKYT News at 11. Newer, fresher, worth staying up for.
Honey, did you order a walking Norman Rockwell painting?
Hey, little sister. Garrett? Oh my God.
The Silver Bells killer committed 6 murders.
We are not a family of psychopaths.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Here's a look at the most viewed stories on our website right now. People want to know more about the search for a man wanted in Lexington shooting, the coroner's request for help in finding a man's family, and the video of a man going after his daughter's killer in court. You can find those stories and more on WKYT.com. Tourists have been turned away from a popular attraction in Paris because of flooding.
That's right. Floodwaters from the Seine River are close enough to the Louvre to shut it down. About 250,000 works of art have been moved to higher ground because of concerns the basement will leak. Tourists are hoping it will reopen during their visit.
This was a major attraction for us to see, but we'll make it another day.
The Seine River is also closing in on the Eiffel Tower and other landmarks in Paris. It's 20 feet above normal, a level it has not reached in 35 years. The state of Texas continues to deal with devastating floods. A third prison south of Houston had to be evacuated this morning because of the rising Brazos River. 2 other prisons were evacuated on Sunday. Nearly the entire eastern half of Texas is under a flash flood watch or warning following days of heavy rains.
Discouraging news today for the millions of Americans looking for work. Employers put the brakes on hiring with just 38,000 jobs added to the economy in May. The number is drastically lower than expected. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.7% because 500,000 people stopped looking for work and are no longer counted. The candidates for president are heading into their final weekend of campaigning before Tuesday's primaries. 6 states will go to the polls, including the all-important California.
Hillary Clinton is looking to lock up her party's nomination, but Bernie Sanders is promising a drawn-out fight. Danielle Nottingham is tracking campaign 2016 from Culver City, California.
A star-studded panel of women stood with Hillary Clinton at a rally in Culver City, California, the first of 4 stops in the state for the Democratic frontrunner.
If talking about paid family leave, equal pay, women's rights to make our health care decisions is playing the woman's card, then deal me in.
Clinton's appearance comes a day after she delivered a speech attacking presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump on foreign policy.
Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different, they are dangerously incoherent.
Trump responded during a rally last night in San Jose.
Hillary Clinton has to go to jail, okay? She has to go to jail.
Following the rally, there were violent clashes between anti-Trump protesters and Trump supporters, resulting in several arrests. While Clinton and Trump court California's voters with the general election in mind, Tuesday's Democratic primary could very well go to Bernie Sanders. A recent poll shows Sanders is neck and neck with Clinton. He says he has a message for voters and superdelegates.
We are the strongest campaign to defeat Donald Trump.
But even if Sanders wins California, Clinton could have enough delegates to secure the nomination by the time the polls close in New Jersey Tuesday night. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Culver City, California.
Other states holding primaries Tuesday include Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota. Thieves target a Lexington church. We'll show you what they took during the break-in on WKYT News at 5:30.
A popular snack is being recalled and how the death of Prince is highlighting a problem facing many Americans. Those stories next in Better Living.
Get WKYT News and weather updates on 104.5 The Cat.
If you had the Assure permanent birth control device implanted by your doctor and have suffered complications, you may be owed damages. This is a time-sensitive issue, and we want to make sure you get all you deserve.
Call the Becker Law Office for a free evaluation.
The world doesn't slow down for anyone. Neither do we. The bold 2016 Toyota Camry. Aggressively styled, with available 18-inch wheels, dual exhausts, and the most advanced features right at your fingertips, including blind spot monitoring and wireless charging. Now get any new 2016 Camry with 0% financing for 72 months. Or lease this Camry now for only $189 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
It's here, the 24th annual RV sale at Kentucky Horse Park Campgrounds. Over 100 new and used diesel pushers, motorhomes, van campers, travel trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers. They're all here and priced to sell. Travel trailers from $99.99. New motorhomes from $69,999. Everything from diesel pushers to van campers, fifth wheels to sport utility trailers to haul your toys. This once-a-year event has something for everybody. Special financing rates, factory rebates, factory representatives. Great deals from May 20th to June 5th. Kentucky Horse Park Campground, exit 120 off I-75. Follow the signs. Sponsored by Northside RVs.
All right, come on, everybody, it's time to go.
Getting more for your money is simpler than you might think. When you shop at Kroger, you get low prices throughout the store, weekly specials, great value from our quality brands, digital coupons, and even fuel points to help you save at the pump. No spin, just savings.
With low prices and weekly deals, saving is so easy at Kroger. Come in and cross more off your list for less. Just look for the tags and save. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
Are you happy with your bathroom? I wasn't, until I learned about Bathfitter. Bathfitter puts a new bathtub right over your old one. Isn't that amazing? Bathfitter will measure, custom make, and install right over your existing tub. And only Bathfitter has seamless walls, which guarantees a watertight fit. Plus, they do it all in just one day. I know because I did it.
Our Splash and a Savings event is going on now. Call 888-997-1357 and save up to $500 plus a free upgrade package.
It's time to wake up. You've got things to do, mouths to feed, work to get done. It's another Kentucky morning. And Kentucky mornings start here.
Good morning, I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith.
You don't have time to waste, so we don't waste your time. Simple as that. Breaking and overnight news, weather to plan your day, plus traffic you can take with you. Make WKYT This Morning part of your Kentucky morning. Weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on WKYT.
My attorney treated me like family. They don't worry about what they get, they worry about what you get. It's that simple.
Serious, experienced, results. Call the Becker Law Office. Just dial 3s.
All in all, weather-wise, really not a bad Friday. But this weekend, could be wet.
That could be a totally different story. Yeah. Jim Caldwell is here now with details on what you can expect.
Yeah, a few of us are getting in on some showers and thunderstorms out there right now. And what likely happens over the weekend is we'll all get in on more of these showers and thunderstorms like the one we're tracking here in Whitley County. It's kind of the main attraction that we have, period. So that shows you that there's not a lot out there. This had a little bit of lightning earlier. It's along I-75 just north of the city of Williamsburg. Just a little pocket of heavier rain now stretching over into Knox County as well. Here's what we've got on a much larger view. Showers and a few thunder showers out to our west, and some that are now pushing a little deeper into parts of Virginia here on this Friday. So we're trying to wrap up all of the rain chances out there. So eventually we'll calm things down. But very wet weekend is coming our way. Now, here's Better Living.
Now it's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. A recall alert today for an item you might have in your pantry. Cliff Bar & Company is recalling 3 flavors of Cliff Bars. The recall involves the Nuts and Seeds Energy Bar, the Sierra Trail Mix Energy Bar, and the Mojo Mountain Mix Trail Mix Bar. There's concern the bars might be contaminated with listeria. If you have the bars, you're urged to destroy them. The death of music icon Prince is highlighting America's prescription drug crisis. The Minnesota Medical Examiner revealed yesterday Prince died of an overdose on fentanyl. As Kenneth Craig reports, overdoses are now the leading cause of accidental death, and experts say opioids are driving the epidemic.
He's coming around a little bit. 78 Americans die each day from opioid overdoses. Since 1999, the number of prescriptions sold for the highly addictive painkillers has quadrupled, and so have the number of people who have died from them.
Many clinicians have overestimated the safety of these products and underestimated their risks.
Dr. Caleb Alexander of Johns Hopkins has studied if doctors are becoming more cautious when prescribing the drugs.
Although there is some evidence that doctors are scaling back a little bit, we have a long way to go.
More than 1,000 people are treated in emergency rooms every day for misusing prescription opioids.
But Prince is the most high-profile victim yet. His autopsy revealed he died from an accidental fentanyl overdose, an opioid much more powerful than other painkillers.
Fentanyl is one of the types of prescription opioids that accounts for a disproportionate number of injuries and deaths.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released guidelines for doctors earlier this year, discouraging the prescribing of opioids for chronic pain and encouraging patients to try over-the-counter pain meds instead, among other methods.
Things such as massage, acupuncture, physical therapy.
Dr. Alexander recommends if patients must take an opioid, they use the lowest dose possible for the shortest period of time. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Experts say part of the problem with prescription opioids is the perception they're safer than illegal drugs. In reality, prescription narcotics have similar effects on the brain as heroin. Doctors say those changes in the brain can happen within days of taking the pain pills, leading to a quick addiction.
People need to exercise some caution on their own in that regard, because narcotics certainly are addictive, and we're finding out now are really the gateway to heroin. 75% of heroin addicts these days started with a prescription narcotic.
Doctors encourage loved ones of those taking prescription narcotics to pay close attention to their behavior and report any signs of prescription abuse to their physician. Now here's what's coming up at 5:30.